Hello, everyone, and welcome to another guest episode on Lifted. Today, I have with me Anna Bianchi. That's how you spell it. Is it that? That's how you say it, isn't it?
It
Anna
is Anna
Bianchi.
Bianchi. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, today we have with me Anna Bianchi. Anna is a reflexologist and is very much about helping you to achieve a balanced body and mind through what she does. And without giving too much away, I will actually let her introduce herself to us and tell us more about what she does. Anna, welcome to Lifted Podcast.
Thank you so much, Carol. That's an honor to be here sharing the information with yourself and your audience. So, Anna Bianchi, I am a holistic therapist and I've been practicing for nearly 20 years now. And the very first therapy that really called my attention to my own health and really helped me was reflexology.
Yeah.
I started after I had my daughter and I had the baby blues, so I was depressed, taking antidepressants at the time, and I decided joining with the local college just to do a course in holistic aromatherapy and other things that perhaps would help myself and my daughter because she was very colicky, was not getting any sleep, didn't have any support around. So I thought that would be a good idea. And as I was developed onto the course, 3 months on, I noticed how much better I was feeling. And I dropped all the medication. I was really feeling good for myself and my family. And I thought, wow, I want to, share this with the world
Yeah.
and do this to help other people. So the journey started then, and I started my business as a holistic therapist.
Yeah.
But it never ended. I'm still on training, and it has developed into other therapies. And I progressed in training as a neuro-linguistic programming master practitioner. Also, somatic emotional release, so working with trauma and doing all the somatic work. And it's just bringing awareness to the public as well and to the clients, the community, how important it is for us to really take care of our own health
Yeah.
and keeping ourselves balanced. So I think this is the ethos and the passion of the business, is taking care of the wellness as a, holistically as a whole,
Yeah.
not only one aspect of it, but, the whole body, the mind, the body, the physical body, the emotions, because they're all connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Really, really interesting that. And there's quite a few technical terms that you've used there that some people wouldn't actually understand what they mean, like somatic. And your line of work is I like it because it's very wholesome and it's very natural, if you will, because it doesn't involve the use of any chemicals or any medication or anything like that. And it's all it's very much based on the natural side of things, because I do believe you also use stuff like aromatherapy in your treatments, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, so just talk us through how that works in terms of how the oils connect with the body and how that affects how the treatment is carried out, really. How do they connect, if you will? How do they come together to give the whole treatment what it is?
Yeah, so I usually blend literally not only the oils but different techniques. So I think it's bringing the sense, which is one of our primal connection, if you will, into the body. So you mentioned the somatic. Soma in Greek is the means the body.
Yeah.
So is anything that really bringing our sense, our all senses into connections, bringing us to the present moment. So the scent of smell is magical for that. Is really connected with the part of the brain that really it allows us to relax, if you will, and allow us to have memories and connections from the past and all that. So essential oils, they come from extractions of plants, and they're all natural as well. Obviously, you need to know how to use them carefully, but obviously with being aromatherapy, I blend the oils that are best for the client. So let's say if you're feeling anxious about something, ylang ylang is a great oil for that. If you have low libido, is a great oil for that. If you have aches and pains, for example, lavender and chamomile, blended together, they have a synergy, and they help you to deal with inflammation and help you deal with pain relief.
Yeah.
Now, all this, when you incorporate touch, there's a magic in itself. So touch therapies, let's say massage, any type, you don't have massage, if it's acupressure massage, the element of giving the touch in a safe space with consent has a magic as well, not only for the body releasing positive chemicals such as oxytocin, which is, they say, is the love hormone, isn't it? Everything relaxes, and you become more open into regulate the nervous system. Also has an effect in your mind. So, the chemicals that are released during a session affects the body in many ways. Today, just an example, practicing one of the therapies that are more prominent now that I do is called craniosacral therapy. There's always essential oils on the background anyway. So there's a person walks in, is already have that stimulus, and you can create that in your own home. You can have a diffuser or an oil burner that you can create like a sacred space for you to recharge yourself, your mind,
and relax.
But I found fascinating that this client had the watch marking the heart rate, and she managed to get into the hour session a relaxation, even though she didn't fall asleep. The heart rate was lower than when she was asleep. So the amount of the state of the body goes into relaxation when having a treatment is so I think the best word is replenishing. It really helps not only the physical, but it also helps the mind. And in that place, it's easier to self-regulate emotions, to become more resourceful, to deal with day-to-day challenges. So I think it's one way of doing it. And whatever I do, don't replace any medical treatments in that sense, but it is a holistic approach. We see through the holistic therapies, we look at the whole of the body, the whole of the person, and is a complementary treatment to whatever the person might be already having, as in support for their own health.
Right. Okay. I understand that. So what sorts of ailments would you say, like something like reflexology can treat or make better? Because reflexology, as we all know, is something to do with feet. And I myself have had the pleasure of coming in and having my treatment with you. And I have to say, it was a really, really nice experience for something that I've never done before. And it felt like I was being taken care of. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes when, especially for us moms, you're rushing around all the time, you're doing this, you're doing that. And most of the time you are on your feet. So when you get to a point where you can actually put your feet up, quite literally, and have somebody like rubbing them and taking care of them, it does feel special in that space. You feel taken care of, or at least I did. So my question to you, in as far as reflexology is concerned, is how does that just explain to people who might not understand how reflexology works, how the feet are connected to the rest of the body, and how you manage to carry out that treatment so that the client benefits or gets the benefits from the treatment that you're carrying out, and what sorts of things you might be able to identify when you're going through this treatment?
It's fascinating, Carol, because people sometimes miss out saying things to me on the consultation form. And you have all of the organ systems of your body mapped on your feet. So people sometimes missing out saying something. I can find on the feet there was an imbalance there.
Wow.
We can tell if a woman's ovulating by touching the ovary point.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's fascinating. If you have a bad night of sleep, if you're not sleeping well, if you have the thumb, which is the big toe, you can do on your hand. As I mentioned the feet, I mentioned the thumb because obviously reflexology, you can have it on your feet and your hands and your face. But let's think about the main one, this most known, which is on the feet. So you can tell all these things are out of balance, if you will. Not necessarily means there's anything wrong with the organ, but it could be in the meridian of energy that runs through the organ. It could be out of balance. And the thought behind when you're thinking about not only the physical body, you have a thought pattern, let's say, that creates an emotion in your body. That emotion will reflect physically. So let's say you have a thought, if you're anxious about something, that will generate adrenaline, and that will change or how your digestive system works. So you know, one thing is linked to the other. So when you go to a reflexology session, we are making sure, first of all, that you're feeling relaxed. As I said, you experience the sense of being safe, somebody's taking care of you. And also you are touching points on your feet that have a connection with the parts of the body that is indirectly doing the balancing, if you will. So this started a very long time ago, let's say thousands of years ago. I have records of pictures on the Egyptian culture, Chinese culture, that people massaging the feet and showing the regions and things. But it was more recently, let's say about the past 100 years, not even there yet, less than that, that somebody actually mapped the feet, if you will, and try to make those connections. But if you have a back pain, and if you do the point of the feet, you can feel sometimes by pressing the point, the pain subsides straight away. So I've experienced different things throughout the years. But the whole point is to stimulate those points on your feet. You find the imbalance area and you bring the organ or the part of the body back into balance. And usually the person perceives that at the end of the session as feeling more relaxed, better sleep. You're gonna perhaps have more, the circulation gets activated, and so the lymphatic system, so it's more likely that you go to the toilet and get rid of the excess fluid. So what is good for all sorts of nervous conditions, so emotionally, anxiety. If you go physically, for women, I find fascinating for hormone balancing. For IBS, if you have, you know, the bowel that is irritable bowel syndrome, linked with anxiety again, I think these are the ones that I found most results, or more commonly people telling me that it has really helped them with. But nevertheless, absolutely everything and anything. And don't get me wrong, there are contraindications. So if you have any severe heart condition, if you have other things, I would always do, and any professional should do a consultation for you.
Of course, you have to like make sure that the client is right for the treatment that you're going to administer to them, because as you say, some issues are contraindications and you can't really carry out the treatment. But I'm really fascinated by all this, because I can't actually, it's hard to get my head around that you can actually tell like a woman's ovulation, for example, just by feeling. Does it feel like different when you touch a pressure point, say, if something is wrong or not, if something is off balance? I wouldn't say wrong, if something is off balance, how does it feel when you're putting pressure on that point? Does it feel like hard, or does it feel different from the rest of how the foot feels?
It does. It feels, it could be different sensations there. So for the therapist applying the pressure, it could feel like a little lump in the area, like grains in the area, or could be a little puffy. It just doesn't feel like the other parts of the feet would, if you will. For the person receiving, it could be a little uncomfortable, or it could have a sensation that is different or unusual, or nothing at all. But is that there is a way of saying, and ovulation, you have the point of the ovary, and it feels like a little lumpy area, and it feels like it feels like it's active, if you will. And I usually ask the client, it's actually I am. How do you know? So, well, because your ovary is telling me. Your ovary reflects.
Wow, that's amazing. That blows my mind. Like you can tell just by feeling and by touching. It's incredible. And I'm going to ask you a question here. Have you ever, through your career, obviously as a therapist of this sort, come across a client where you're carrying out the treatment and you've come across something that you feel is actually very serious to the effect of, would you say, like you've encountered a situation where maybe you found something cancerous, for example, something, you know, you have to tell the client that it's not good? How do you go about that?
No, we never diagnose in that sense. And it can always go as far as an imbalance in the organ, if you will. The only thing that comes to my mind at the moment, I never had anything drastic like that. And what comes to mind is when I was doing a Reiki session with somebody, the womb kept coming up. It's not reflexology, I know, sorry.
It's okay. We'll go into that as well. Yeah.
So the healing part, the energy part, because the thought behind it is that everything is energy. Everything is energy. You know, the table, the trees, our body,
everything.
We have an energetic field, and our heart really pumps a massive magnetic field. So in the principle, everything is energy. If a dissonance or an imbalance happens in the energetic field, it would probably feel energetically before it manifests on the physical body, in the organ itself. So I had a lady who came, and she came for a couple of sessions, and I thought, I'm just finding an imbalance in your womb area. But she didn't know, she didn't have any symptoms yet on the physical body. Only for 6 months after, she was diagnosed with fibroids, and she ended up having to have, a hysterectomy. But that was before even it had become a symptom in the physical body. So I think it's opening the concept now that everything is integrated. Even traditional medicines are starting to open their mind as well for other modalities. They are not necessarily, into the mainstream of science, but there are a lot of things on, let's say, I wouldn't call it alternative science, but you have like quantum physics, you have other science coming up proving that thought alone is energy. And that's why I say, you change your frame of mind. If you are in a nice space, and you can access that through the physical body. So that's the holistic therapy, is whatever therapy it is, if it's reflexology, aromatherapy, healing, craniosacral, whatever treatment that you get yourself into that space of calm, it will change your metabolism, but also will reset your frame of mind. And that is the whole point of creating that space as well. Not only when you go for treatment, but creating that space at home, when you can have that time to reset your mind, reset your body, just to get your nervous system to self-regulate again, so your stress levels get managed on a regular basis.
Yeah, that really makes sense. And it's really, really interesting to me, especially because if I want to speak on the sport side of things as well, our bodies can get very, very tensed up and very tight. And sometimes that goes in as far as affecting our mental side as well, because you're literally putting your body through so much stress with the training side of things, especially on the athletic, on when you come to like extreme sports like the bodybuilding side of things, to use me as an example. And I remember when I came for my treatment, like, you were immediately straight on it, and you were saying like, oh, I feel like your liver, there's something there, there's an imbalance in the liver side of things. And it was true, because at that point I was going through so much in terms of the training regime, and what was coming into my system and what was lacking, and there was so much going on. So again, it's really interesting to see that all these things can be picked up on. And even for the normal person who doesn't actually feel like it's something that they might want to try and venture into, I feel it's important for that's why I brought you on, actually, just to try and explain that side a bit more. Because when you're thinking like holistic stuff, you think more like massage, or you think like, oh, I just go to the spa and I'll do all these things, and they do help, don't get me wrong, they do help, and they've got their place. But to have an in-depth treatment like this, where actually somebody is pinpointing certain areas in your body that are not quite balanced, I feel is incredible. And it does help you if you can calm yourself down or calm your nervous system down. I feel like there's a lot of benefits there, as you point out, towards making you more wholesome and more, it goes a long way. Because for some people, I think for some people, the stresses of life and how they deal with things, because they can't express it, it somehow manifests inwards, and then it translates physically. So then they start getting ill, because it's not ill because some of the things that you hear is like, they'll go to the doctors and they'll say like, oh, we can't find anything wrong with you. They'll run tests and they'll be like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you as far as the tests are concerned. But when you think about it, it's literally down to the daily stresses of life, the inability to cope with how to deal with stuff that's coming at you, and that eats away at you, and it goes inward. And if it goes inward, it has to come out somewhere. So in the end, it does come out, and in a way where you feel ill. You don't actually feel very well in yourself, but there is nothing wrong as far as the medicine side is concerned, and as far as doctors know. And so it's treatments like this that come into play to actually help you calm everything down and just get you to a point where your body can relax. So I feel like it's incredible what you do, like to be able to get a client from one extreme of being in a very highly stressed mental side to calming them down. What would you say is your highlight for doing these treatments? You know, like when a client comes in, you know, it must be really satisfying for you to see a client coming in and then coming out completely different. How would you
Absolutely.
describe that? Like, you know, in your experience, like what has been your highlights when you're doing this sorts of treatment for your clients?
Yeah, I think you said a lot of excellent stuff in there about how is important for any athlete or anybody that doesn't need to be looking into, you know, the body performing in extremes, but a body that just performs in an optimum state, more balanced. So just going back a little before I go, what's the perks for me for doing what I do?
Yeah.
It is important because if you think that if you are stressed, if cortisol causes inflammation, and cortisol
Yes.
is abundantly available when you're stressed.
Mm.
When you reduce that and change the hormone system, change the chemicals in your body will heal. You take the inflammation, will get rid of quicker. So it's so important to have this taking care of yourself, making that time for it as well. Now it became that's answering your question. Now it became my purpose. Say I've been since being a kid, I would like to help people. That's
Yeah.
been life. And I found a career that I can be a service and I can help others to transform. And seeing that transformation, seeing the pain going away, seeing the change in the mindset, you know, the change they make, they're feeling happier, they're feeling lighter, more in alignment with their self, with their own truth. I had a lady who came 2 weeks ago. She's a top athlete as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, I cannot reveal names, but
No.
she had an injury and she was thinking about quitting her career because she thought, this is it now.
Right.
Well, we managed to get to the bottom of talking to her. What was the meaning of that injury in the sense of what was going on in her mind that was stopping her going forward? What were the fears that were holding her back? And by processing this, and don't get me wrong, it's not an easy process to go back
No.
into the wound. You know, she did feel upset during the session. She did cry, but following day, she just texted me saying, "Thank you so much. My pain have gone. I have clarity. I know where I'm going. I'm much better." So
Wow.
it's just one session. So this is what keeps me, you know, my heart singing and think this is what I want to carry on doing. I want to carry on helping people.
Yeah.
And in the process, there's no way you can get there without starting on ourselves. So to be able to hold this space, I've been there myself. You know, I crumbled and fell, and I had to pick myself up. I used all these courses and learning for self-acknowledgement and for improving myself as a human being, as a person, to be able to be here taking better care of my own self, my own body
Yep.
before I go out there and, you know, and
Absolutely
helping
incredible.
others.
Like, yeah, amazing. It's just must, I know, like, so with me being like a personal trainer or a coach, the feeling I get from seeing somebody go from being completely unable to do a certain movement, for example, to being able to completely do it properly and progress and go further in it, it's so satisfying. So I completely get what you mean about seeing your client go from a place of almost despair to a place of where they, you know, they're getting back to the swing of things and are actually able to do what they thought they couldn't do before. That's amazing. And it almost sounds like you're not just a therapist in this area. It almost flows into the psychotherapist side, if you will, because you are actually talking to people and they're telling you your problems, aren't they? And they kind of are offloading. Are you able to cope with that well, or?
Yeah, so I'm not a psychotherapist, qualified psychotherapist, but I did 5 years of training, it's still ongoing on the somatic emotional release. So it's taking that trauma from the body, from the body aspect, from the somatic aspect, and we cover touch base and stuff, you know, a few theories on the psychology itself. But you know, I cannot call myself a psychologist.
No.
Up to the post process of NLP, I've done practice of hypnosis, so I can use that as well as a tool.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, mind goes together with emotions, with the body. And I realized that after a while that doing the holistic therapist was amazing for relaxing, bringing the body into balance. But this symptoms carry on repeating itself. So unless you go into the root cause of it,
Yes.
that's not going to shift. So
Yes.
if your mindset is into something and the body keeps the score. So I get people that come for the somatic emotional release, and I found out that, for example, that being stuck on the umbilical cord and when they're having the birthing process, and that is related to stuff that happen in the throat nowadays. It could be, continuous throat infection. It could be a neck problem, and they don't remember. It's in the subconscious mind, but the body will repeat the movement to release from that trauma. So the body will move as if it was freeing itself from the umbilical cord. So it's fascinating, really, because it's all in our black box. It's all unconscious. It might not be aware of what's going on, but once you kind of tap into what it is that is causing the problem for the person, it can go from the physical to the mind into the emotions. And once you have that release in a safe space, because let's say the word trauma in itself, trauma happens when you put a meaning into an experience that you usually felt unsupported for in that occasion. You didn't find that you have somebody acknowledging you or supporting you. So once you have this space, you don't need to relieve it. You can revisit, detached from it. But once you reprocess and given the resources for, let's say, the child is a total childhood trauma, and you have to revisit the experience with empowerment, with somebody holding that space, your brain doesn't know the difference if it happened in the past, if it's true or not. Is telling that story now that is being resolved already work as it has, and the body starts to release, it starts to move, it starts to shift, and the person, it has a massive shift afterwards in their own psyche, their own mental health and their own physical.
Amazing, fascinating. It's such an interesting line of work, and just how I'm always amazed by what the human body can actually do. And then when you venture into the mental side of it and how the human brain just works, it's absolutely incredible. So in that respect, I want to venture a bit more onto that side as well, the brain side of things. So things like what you've discussed now, obviously, they kind of will go a bit into the meditation side of things as well for mental well-being. Are you a big believer in the meditation side of things? Do you practice it? And what are your thoughts about meditation, basically?
Yeah, I think it became such a common thing to be said and done, but it's not for everybody. And I want to make a point on that. Mindfulness is fantastic because it's present moment awareness, and you can make connection with whatever you're doing fully in that present moment, and doing your breathing exercises and all that really has proven to have a calming effect into the body, into the mind. But if you have psychosis, for example, and you go and meditate, you can open a Pandora box. So it's cases and cases, and you would have to see what is safe for you to do and what's the best thing for you to do. I would think by my experience so far, mindfulness, it seems to be quite safe because you're not really doing guided meditations and going to different worlds, if you will, into your mind's eye. But you actually bring awareness to here, to now, and allowing you to connect with the body. If you have, like, say, a panic attack, you can't really talk yourself out of it because it's already too late. Your body is already expressing. It's creating resilience to not get to the point. And how do you do it? If you have a meditation practice, and I call it meditation now more my mindfulness practice, where you will bring awareness to the breathing, to being okay with how the body feels, noticing what the body's doing, become aware of it and really talk to the body. Usually you have the answers within, but we don't have time to connect. We don't create time to connect. It's a fast pacing society we're living on. We want a quick pill, the quick fix, and it don't nourish ourselves enough, I don't think, to create that space in the day where you can just allow yourself to relax and to connect.
It's really important, really important. And I found myself actually now in a place where, because life gets so busy and there's not enough hours in the day, but I do find, like, on days where I am at a point where I'm reaching, because I can usually feel it coming. You just feel like, right, I'm reaching the edge, and I really need to just like back off a few things. And I think it's important for people to actually be able to recognize that. And the only way you can recognize that is being very aware of your feelings and being very aware of your emotions and how your body, what your body is saying to you. Because a lot of the times we are shut off from that side because it's just go, go, go. It's just there's goals to be reached, there's things. And as much as that is good for like self-progression and self-development, we also need to hold space for ourselves, I feel. And we need to be able to take a step back and look at ourselves and feel like, how am I feeling today? And it's a very good point you made there about talking to yourself, like, you know, talking to your body and just literally reflecting inwards and saying like, how am I feeling today? Am I running out? Am I low on fuel today? What do I need to do to like recharge and refill my cup? So yeah, it's really, really interesting to see all these things coming together as one, really, to try and bring a wholesomeness to our lives and to get us to a place where we're balanced, and we are in a good state mentally to be able to take things on a day-to-day basis. So I'm really, really grateful that you've taken your time to come in and speak to me about it. If you want to talk to somebody who's like in a really bad place right now, and they're stuck and they don't know how to go about doing, unsticking themselves or getting themselves out of the feelings they're in, what would your advice be to that person?
I think is reaching out is the main thing. If they can afford a treatment or a therapy, is reaching out for a close friend. People assume that sometimes others should know what you're going through, but nobody will unless you say it.
Until you say it, yeah.
And that vulnerability, making yourself vulnerable in that sense, is such a sign of strength, really, because it's this is what is going to make the difference in how you progress forward and getting the help that you need. So it's creating that space, the opportunity to allow yourself to become vulnerable and talk and ask for help. It could be a help through a doctor, to a therapist, to a friend, a family member that they feel safe with.
Yeah.
I think this is one thing. Noticing, as again, giving that pause, getting out of the normal pace of life and give that little pause to reflect. Everything can be changed, and we have a choice. That's the thing. We all have a choice in how we're going to lead the next step. We might feel like we don't sometimes because of the circumstances, but we still have a choice in how we can respond to that. And this is empowering to know that we can change our lives from no matter where you are. Everything is possible. I believe everything is possible once you ask the question, once you will go and ask for that help and ask yourself what you want to get out of this life. Is only one that we have here at time. So let's make an opportunity of growth and make an opportunity to be living this life fully.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Incredible. So fascinating. Like, it's been an eye-opener for me, and it's been really, really, really interesting to listen to. I could keep you here all day, but we haven't got all day. But I would like you to just, for our listeners who would like to reach out maybe for your services, if you could let us know how they can reach you, and if you're taking on new clients or if you've got any events coming up, you can let us know as well.
Yeah, so I am Anna Bianchi, coaching and therapist on Facebook and also on Instagram. And obviously I'm taking more craniosacral therapies. I'm really focused on the trauma work, and there'll be a retreat coming up in June in the Lake District and outside, and that is going to be a deep dive into working with the body, get that connection back, working with traumas. So we're going to have another lady who does breath work as well into the trauma side of it, releasing from the body. We're going to get myself teaching people how to practice little short routines at home to incorporate aromatherapy, reflexology on their daily lives to help to keep that nervous system balanced before too much and get overwhelmed, people get overwhelmed. So this is one thing coming. There's September as well. There's a retreat in Portugal, but all this information is going to be put very soon on the Facebook page and Instagram page as well.
Fantastic. It all sounds really, really good. I'm tempted. So you might be seeing me in one of those. maybe Portugal even. I quite fancy that.
Good,
I need a
good stuff.
holiday, any excuse. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it would be great. So yeah, thank you so much for your time, Anna. It's been absolutely amazing. But before you go, I usually ask my guests who come on a fun question. I say a fun question. It might not be a fun question, it's just a question, but I'll ask you anyway. For you today, I've got this one. What is the best memory you hold to date? What can you think of as the best memory that you have to date?
Well, I have two, and I think this can only be me holding my children after I had just birthed them. I think this it just make even emotional thinking about them. That's the best.
Oh, that's just so beautiful. It's given me goosebumps that. Yeah, it's taken me right back as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. There's no feeling
that's
like it.
such a miracle, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Really.
Oh God, yeah, that's taken me back that. I wasn't expecting that. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. That's really good. That's a good answer, Anna. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Well, I will love you and leave you for now. But again, I'd like to thank you so much for your incredible information and how fascinating all of it has been. So thank you so much for your time. We hope like the listeners have got something out of it and it's helped somebody out there, because it's always lovely to know that anything that we put out is there to help people, and if somebody gets help or some sort of idea of how to go about doing something that they never knew before, that is my work done. So thank you so much, Anna, and we'll say goodbye to you, and we'll say goodbye to our listeners, and we'll speak to you soon. See you on the next episode, everyone.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Bye-bye.